We are joined by the woman who Chris Collinsworth has proclaimed the princess of the Queen City, our friend Kay Adams. Here's my question for you. You've got this mutual love affair with Cincinnati and Bengals fans. When you are at these other NFL camps, do players or coaches get on you about that?
Yeah. I just came from Pittsburgh. Don't worry, I showered and burned all of my clothing from Latrobe. I did not bring anything into this beautiful Cincinnati. But yeah, it's you're a Bengals fan. Things are a little more closed off. Things are a little more, territorial. But I'll take it. Let's go into Super Bowl and prove everybody wrong.
Well, thank you for burning the Steelers gear.
Yes.
That's much appreciated.
Thanks for having me.
I think this is your 8th stop on a 17 training camp
19.
tour.
19 now. We
training camp
added
tour.
Falcons and Saints to the end somehow. I don't think my team knows that. Breaking news. Yeah.
I see a lot of frowns now in the room.
It's so fun. We're having a blast.
Do you sleep?
Sure. What define sleep? Do I sleep
Do you get more than 4 hours a night?
I got 3 hours last night. The night before, though, I got 5. And then, system of averages about 5.
Is there an intravenous coffee drip?
No, but I need a black coffee before I can do. I am a different person if I don't have sleep and I don't have a coffee. So I have a black coffee. Kat Rogerson, my amazing steward, she sort of like runs my life, and I just close my eyes and she lifts me from place to place. She always has a coffee for me first thing, so it's the best.
Love it.
And she's not here. And my security, wonderful Dan, this morning did not hesitate to say, "Do you need a Starbucks situation?" And I said, "No, please." But yeah. But then it's like I need it, but then I get into a facility and then you feel the energy. And the special part about not just the Bengals, but every team, and why I want to visit so many, is because 32 have optimism. 32 teams out there say, right now, we are so healthy, we are so motivated, we are going to win a Super Bowl. And who doesn't want to be around that?
I love training camp. I love talking to people at training camp. It's when they're at their most relaxed. You are an awesome interviewer.
Thanks.
What makes a good interview?
Curiosity and listening. And that's it. It's probably as simple as it is.
Yeah.
You have to adhere to your values. My biggest tip for an interview would be, I'm always driven by curiosity, but it's what do I want to hear? What do I want the answer to be? Not as far as manipulating it, but how can I frame this question to get the story that will satiate my curiosity? And the reason I think I've had success at it in this world is that I love the NFL. I think that's very clear. I like celebrating the players, and I think that helps me. I have the same curiosity as the fans out there in the stadium watching the games, and so I ask the questions they want answers to.
You finally get your chance to visit with Joe Burrow today.
I don't even believe
a quest.
it. I kind of don't believe it.
It's your vision quest.
It's been 3 years.
Yeah, things have gotten in the way when you've been here in the past. So it is happening today.
Is it really?
It is, yep. It's definitely happening.
I'm a little nervous.
Do you start with the hair, the backless jacket? Where are you going to begin with Joe?
If you talk to anybody at Up and Adams, I have the attention span of about a gnat. Once that was in the news cycle for 12 hours, I was done. So I like to move very quickly. Things that are still even trending right now, I'm like, it's old news. I don't like, what's the next thing? How do we move it forward? So now I'm on to, Zach Taylor's kids dyeing their hair blonde. I want to know what that's like. I want to further the story a little bit.
Yeah.
I promise you I will very unlikely touch the hair storyline with him. Where will I start? I don't know. I think I'll have to sense what his energy is. I have a feeling he's going to be very serious.
Oh, he'll be great.
Yeah, but I think he's a serious individual.
Laser focused at all times.
Right, me no. So we'll see how it goes. They say never to meet your heroes. I think that's how I'll probably start. How is he going to impress me?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about now. What should I ask him, Dan?
Shoot, I don't know. You're a great interviewer.
What
You'll
do you mean?
figure
You
it out.
talk to him all the time.
And I just had the chance to do a lengthy interview with him the other day, and he was great. Here's the thing that I find most interesting about Joe, and maybe you can get to the heart of this. So whether it's the hair or the Paris fashion show, this dude is the most comfortable in his own skin of anybody I think I've ever met. He just does not care what other people think. Mm-hmm. So if you have a way of getting at the heart of that, I'd be interested to hear it.
I'm not Walter Cronkite. This isn't, Diane Sawyer, but we'll see. I'll see what I can do. It's fascinating. Does he have this sense of comfort now over time. Like he sort of said, I wanted to focus on football and now I have it. And now, does that mean he's mastered football and can open himself up to other things like branding? Or did he always have this in him and he just now feels like it's time to step out and let those clearly artistic, I believe, parts of his personality, I would assume, sort of shine? And will that be a great thing for him as a football player? Or will he be scrutinized for it even more, which, again, he doesn't care?
Exactly. I mean, ultimately, if he does well on the field, nothing else really matters, and he will because he's Joe Burrow. He says that people have forgotten him since last year because he was injured. He's 39th on the NFL Network's top 100 list. Give us the national perspective. Do you think people outside of Cincinnati are kind of sleeping on Joe Burrow?
I think it has nothing to do with anything except for the injury. And it's not, I would have to defend the nation in saying that I believe that all injured players suffer this, that you forget. I was just with the Patriots. Christian Gonzalez, a rookie last year, was on his way to a Rookie of the Year on defense situation, got hurt. So whenever anybody gets hurt, you do forget them. I don't know if he deserved that ranking. If you look at his talent level, his skill level, his success against other AFC opponents, you can make the case he should be top 5, top 10. But I think the injury is all that it had to do with, and I'm sure that that's the huge worry and storyline and concern on every defensive drill and snap out there with him. I'm sure Coach Lou is like, easy. Trey Hendrickson, bad boy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure those things are going on because what you just said, you said, he'll be fine because he's Joe Burrow. So few teams can say that. So few. What's happening here is so special, but it also puts an insurmountable amount of pressure and stress on one person, though we did, of course, have success without him last year, which should only give this team more confidence that they can go and take it away from Patrick Mahomes. And that's the storyline of the NFL this year, Dan. There's cool Ravens stuff. That's fine. Let's beat them. Let's win the division. But the whole story for everybody in the AFC just has to gun for them not three-peating, and that's the story.
Burrow Mahomes, week 2,
I can't
round
wait.
5.
I can't wait.
I'm there with you.
Yeah.
So you had the great Willie Anderson on Up and Adams several weeks ago, and one of the things that he said in your conversation was, I hope the offensive linemen play in the preseason, trying to help the Bengals avoid a slow start like they've had the last couple of years. Zach Taylor was clearly watching because the offensive starters are playing in the preseason opener against Tampa Bay. Thank you.
I mean, if Willie says something, you got to do it. I'm just a conduit. I'm a simple vehicle for these sort of messages that was an insane conversation. It was one of those pinch me moments. I didn't know he was going to be there. He was so gracious with his time, so honest. He has so much to give. He is so interested in giving everything that he's learned over his amazing career to younger O-linemen. But, I mean, this O-line I'm super excited about. These big boys. Cincinnati skyline,
Giants.
let's go. Just talk to Orlando Brown. I'm looking at him. Literally, my neck could not be further back, and he's one of the shorter ones. Here, I asked him, how does Joe Burrow see over you? And he goes, I don't know, man. He just somehow gets it done. But very excited about that. And I think one of the things, if we're talking about what's being slept on, I do think the run game is being slept on. There's a huge hole. Joe Mixon, a big game. We wish him well, of course. But let's not sleep on what this duo, this 1-2 punch, can do. And Brown's somebody that I think Zach was very measured and wanting to see more of him when he could, getting him into action when he could at certain times when he could last year, to see that and have confidence that he's the guy, and he clearly is sold, so am I.
You had Zach Moss on Up and Adams as well after he signed with the Bengals as a free agent. Do you think that that's kind of a sneaky, valuable move by the Bengals? Because that one doesn't seem to be getting, much juice around the country.
Absolutely. Anybody that has experience, you need depth at the running back spot. We know that. I haven't talked to him since he's been here, but he's always been delightful. And, if you come on Up and Adams, you're going to have success. So what else can I say?
Are you bummed that you will not see DJ Reader here?
Yeah. If I'm being honest, sure. And I think he's one of those pieces that's really going to help them in the NFC over there. I think that he is a tremendous player. One of the first, I would say he was the signing that the Bengals made that when I was on Good Morning Football. I remember when it came across the desk, I looked at my producer Hamilton and was like, it's a lot of money. That's an uncharacteristic sort of like huge paycheck, highest paid. And then we developed a friendship and a kinship. But I will say there's other personalities here that are, Orlando Brown is no less exciting and fun to talk to, and some of these other amazing pieces. So from a personality standpoint, I'll miss him. From an energy standpoint, certainly. But I trust what this organization's doing, and hopefully y'all make me look smart as usual.
The Bengals tried to keep him. It didn't work
Yes,
out. That's the way it
business.
goes in the NFL. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a business, but they did sign Sheldon Rankins.
Mm-hmm.
So two very different players, but two great players.
Mm-hmm.
But a major problem last year was stopping the run. Is that one of the things that you are going to be trying to get at the heart at while you're here at camp, trying to find out from Lou and others how they're going to do that better?
I have been tracking the Sheldon story for a long time. I think the departure of Reader was a huge hole to fill, and he can fill it. We've seen him have success before. He's a monster. I've been checking in my dark arts ways throughout this process, and I can tell you that Sheldon is going to do just fine. And yes, I'm glad you mentioned him because he is somebody who is obviously going to have a huge role. I know Lou, wants to clean it up. He wants to clean up especially the run stuffing, and he's the perfect person to do it. We're all excited.
So I cover one training camp, and it's hard to keep track of everybody and all of the things going on. How do you do it with 32?
I want to thank you for all the work you do because I just listen to you, truly. It's so that I'm up to speed with what's going on all across the country. How do I keep up? I don't know. I have a good memory, I guess. I'm curious. I think it's curiosity that sort of propels me. It's so good for me. You have national media, people who cover everything, and they don't know what's going on in the place. And it must be so frustrating for you, especially, when it's the treetops of the conversations. There's so much information, but it all starts here. It all starts with, I'm sitting with Orlando Brown, and there's an energy shift in him from last year. That's imperceptible with a news article or a podcast or it's to be here and sense those things in the hallway. That's the gift that you have and that you receive from this organization. So if I could get to all 32, I would in 32 days. I would do it in a minute because it matters so much to me. It sets the table for my entire agenda. I'm in New York with Aaron Rodgers, and whether it's great or not great, I can tell you a lot of the things that I noticed that day are going to have an effect 2 months, 3 months from now. Me asking about Devontae Adams, we'll see what happens there. All these things sort of get set in those places. So I don't know, I hop around. It's similar storylines. I'm drawn to energy, I think. I think it takes energy. I'm drawn to dynamics organizationally between front office, GM, coach, quarterback, and receivers. Like here, I saw Jamar Chase here for a second, smiling, walking through, got a workout in. I said, I'm so happy to see you. And he goes, why wouldn't I be here? I mean, what else could you want? And I hope people, as I cover all 32 people in Cincinnati, realize how rare that is. And to have T say, let's go and do this. And I think you're only getting that because they know that they can win here. And you're not getting that a lot of other places because they don't believe that they can win there. And to have that kind of buy-in, that's the kind of dynamic that I think is Super Bowl bound.
I think you're very perceptive where Orlando Brown Jr. is concerned because there is a shift there.
Something going on there.
Yeah. So didn't go to the Pro Bowl last year. He was an alternate, but he's a proud guy. I sense that he's really hungry despite all he has accomplished.
I think he said hungry in our interview 6 times, and I thought
There
it had
you
to do with
go.
the intermittent fasting that he's been raving about. But it's not that. He told me that he had I asked him, I said, how did you free yourself of the things that are weighing you down, the adversity? Because there's a looseness about you. And he said, I just had to have a long conversation with myself about it. And he said that, and I believe him, I could just tell that there's something about him where he could just sort of give it up. And I think that's a huge struggle. You're looking at other teams, like let's say the Bills or the Niners, having to get off the mat and say, we can do this again as teams, and then individuals wanting, a better year or wanting to be more supportive. I think he feels more comfortable, and that'll play out really well.
So you were in Latrobe, Pennsylvania yesterday,
Oh, gosh.
home of Steelers camp.
Oh, God, here comes the lie detector test. Is that what's happening with what I saw in Latrobe?
No, we won't go there, but obviously the AFC North
Yeah.
is a beast. Baltimore and Cleveland as well.
Very hard.
Knocks is going to cover the division for the final several weeks of the season. Is it different when you bounce around? Do you get a different vibe when you're in Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati?
I would say it was my first visit to Latrobe yesterday, and there is a very overwhelming feeling of purity and history for the NFL. The Steelers sort of, it's brazen. It's right out there for you. Mr. Tomlin seems giddy. which is a weird. I don't know if we're scared of that. Do we like that? He seems very excited about his plucking of one Patrick Queen. I can tell you that. I believe he was going to play huge, and now he's got Minka and T.J. Watt and he's collecting those Infinity Stones on defense. Let's see if they can put it all together. He's excited. They've got Najee. He's got a lot to prove because he doesn't have an option picked up, so he's going to be running very hard out there. So, they're formidable. I would say the Ravens are your team to beat as far as feeling comfortable in the AFC North. But it should be fun. It's the toughest division in football, and I don't think anyone in this building would have it another way.
My wife doesn't get very excited when I tell her who I'm going to interview on a daily basis, but when I told her it was going to be you today, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I love Kay. Tell Kay I said hi. You've never met." But, she wanted me to say hi anyway.
How much Hard Knocks FaceTime are you going to get, Dan?
Voice time. I'll get a lot of voice time.
You're not going to just, show up in the hallways, when the cameras are here?
Maybe, but they love using those local radio guy clips, which is fun.
That'll be
for
great.
For those of us that do it, yeah.
Yeah. Are we excited about that? Because, I feel like I'm visiting the Giants camp in a little bit. I feel like, I don't know how much some teams love it and embrace it, and other teams not as much.
You know what? I'm excited about it because it's everybody in the division, so there's no competitive disadvantage. So I think it'll be great. I'll certainly be watching.
Love that.
You're the best.
You're the best. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Dan. Always.